SBI has been one of the biggest brand in the entire BFSI sector, right?
The industry has now seen a phenomenal growth in the last few years. Today we are doing something like 5 crore plus investors, 10 crore plus SIPs, actively available in the industry.
They say it, right? If either you've been hacked and you're aware of it, or you're not aware of it.
We are trying to reimagine what a typical branch should look like. So within that, we are essentially looking two parts of it. One is the physical infrastructure part.
We live in a financial world. Trust is an important thing. You can't just put our money into something which is very vague, which nobody understands with 2 clicks.
Hello, you're watching CIO News. I'm Khushbu Soni, the founder and Chief Editor of CIO News. Today, I am very excited to share this frame with 2 gentlemen and also very, very excited to be invited at the SBI Mutual Fund office to conduct this interview. We're going to be talking about converging branch and digital experiences with Phygital Banking. It is my pleasure to invite Mr. Srinivas Jain, who is the Executive Director and Chief of Strategy at SBI Mutual Fund. Thank you so much, Srinivas, for inviting us to your office and conducting this interview with you. I'm very, very excited to hear your perspective for the sector, right? For the industry of asset management, the vision from the technology perspective, and would love to hear some of the best practices that you've been driving. Thank you so much for...
My pleasure, and happy to have you here.
Fantastic. Mr. Jain needs no introduction, but I'm going to take a couple of minutes to do that. He has 30 plus years of rich experience in driving the asset management sector, work with various brands like Birla Sun Life Insurance. He's worked with Kotak Securities and also been recognized in the industry as one of the CX leaders by Global CX Summit. He's also been driving, industry committees, including the AMFI for the Global FinTech Fest. Once again, thank you. And looking forward to our conversation.
Pleasure, Khushbu. Thank you.
Along with Mr. Jain, we also have Anurag Mathur. He is the Associate Vice President and BFSI Head for Tata Communications. Anurag, we've interacted in the past a couple of times, but I'm going to take a few seconds to introduce you again. So he's been driving, Tata Communications preferred technology for various BFSI customers. He has 18 plus years of rich experience, focused in driving new initiatives in the next-gen network and services, security solutions, ISO-Fin Cloud, and managed cloud services align with Tata Communications' transformation strategy to enhance cloud and client experiences to support digital innovation in the BFSI's landscape. Lovely. So, to begin with, I wanted to put across my first question to you, Mr. Srinivas. We've been hearing the asset management as an industry has rapidly grown in the last couple of years, especially in the last 4-5 years, right? We've seen there has been a rise in the SIPs, and this has been across the news. Also, this has led to the rise of 2,500 plus, mutual fund schemes in the sector, right? So, wanted to understand, how do you see technology as, as one of the major streams to drive this whole revolution? How do you see the technology playing a role for digital infrastructures to meet the market requirements?
Yeah, thank you, Khushbu. And again, welcome to SBI Mutual Funds office. So happy to host you all here. Your question on the growth of the industry. I think the industry has now seen a phenomenal growth in the last few years. Today we are doing something like 5 crore plus investors, 10 crore plus SIPs, actively available in the industry. We ourselves at SBI Mutual Fund with almost 20% market share, with almost $320 billion worth of assets that we manage for our clients. The growth has been phenomenal. This wouldn't have happened if not for two critical events that happened in the last decade or so. One, of course, was demonetization.
Yeah.
That kind of rapidly changed the view from physical assets to more financial assets. And the other one was COVID. And COVID kind of very quickly made transformation from phygital world to a digital world. And thanks to both of this, today you see this convergence of digital offtake. This kind of scale we wouldn't have been able to manage if the industry was not fully digital. Yeah. So we are natively a digital organization. One of the things about security market compared to banking is we have a very interesting ecostructure where we have a standard KYC form across all industry, across all security market. So that ecostructure that we built for KYC markets, online real-time lookup, ability for customers to just put their PAN number and get their KYC done. And of course, you had the whole India stack available for us, from a Aadhaar identity to payment stack that was available. And of course, the mutual fund industry in the last decade or so have become natively digital. All our offerings today, we almost like 95% of our transaction with our customers is largely digital. Because of that, I think we were able to manage the scale. But the scale itself is too small. I think the scale is going to rapidly grow. The pace at which the young investors are today coming and investing in mutual funds today, I think the pace is going to grow significantly. And at SBI Funds, we have multiple digital footprints that we have put out there. We were one of the very first to recognize this big change and shift that was happening, and we invested very early in trying to build the digital architecture. We have a first to industry capability called InvestTech, which was an API services that we built for our partner network. We built deep integration with banking setups, with full co-banking integration with multiple banks. And of course, we have a partner ecosystem, almost 100,000 of them, who fully digitally connect with us in service. So thanks to all this built out that we've been able to do, today we are able to reach to something like 94% of the PIN codes across the country. And that wouldn't have been possible if not for the technology infrastructure, especially the digital infrastructure that we wouldn't have built.
Right, yeah. Right, absolutely. I think especially SBI has been one of the biggest brand in the entire BFSI sector, right? Right. Ahead of all the other asset management companies, I think there's a lot of pressure in terms of catering to the market requirements, yes, and covering the market needs.
Yeah, so native to this is our belief that we want to bring the capital market capability or capital market access to the smallest of small investors in the country. There is this innate need, a social good that we want to do. Apart from the fact that we also run this as a business, right, the business with that cause or purpose, the vision and the mission that we have built was important for us to build this out, and we are paying and earning the rich dividends out of that today.
Fantastic, that's really great. I also wanted to ask you a follow-up question on this. I mean, Tata Communications has been working with a lot of BFSI organizations, companies, institutes in the industry and in India specifically, right? To cater to their digital infrastructure needs. You interact with a lot of C-suites across the customer experience and the technology industry. Wanted to understand what are some of the best practices, trends, challenges that you've been hearing specifically from the asset management companies, and how is Tata Communication really addressing to these demand from the new age infrastructure requirements that have been coming up?
Yeah, so sure. So just picking up from Mr. Srinivas, what he mentioned about the growth in the industry itself and pandemic being one of the reasons. So today, when we are speaking to a lot of fund companies, and there are a lot of new age fund companies which have also come into the market. So what we are realizing is that there are almost now 40 plus mutual fund companies offering 40,000 plus schemes. Mm-hmm. And the challenge that we see typically coming from the business side is how to reach out to the right kind of investor with the right kind of product. So matching that requirement with the individual investor is something which is a point of challenge. So the other challenge, what the fund companies are looking at is more to how to distribute the information, how to product create innovations in the product itself, and also then manage the fund. So these are certain challenges which are sort of emerging out of our conversations. And technology obviously is going to play a very important role. We are already looking at things like robo-advisors. We are looking at a lot of analytics happening in terms of the investor behavior, his patterns, how he's going to invest, and his risk profiles. So a lot of things are happening where technology is going to play a very important role. And as Mr. Srinivas mentioned, that more and more people want to be accommodated in this journey. Earlier, it was these kinds of funds were limited to the HNI kind of people, but now we are seeing a lot of new generation people also wanted to invest into mutual funds. So with these kind of things, obviously technology is going to play an important role. But from as the more of adaptation happens of digitization, there are challenges. While there are a lot of opportunities, we are also seeing certain challenges. And one of the critical challenges comes around the cybersecurity. So that's one area where as Tata Communications, we believe that there's a lot of security postures which will have to be improvised in the systems that the fund companies are running, because a lot of critical personal data is going to be available online. So that's one area where Tata Communications brings a complete comprehensive suite of security services. And our philosophy is more on automation first and less of putting human, which could lead to an error points. So that's where we are giving a complete sort of security portfolio services to a lot of fund companies. The other critical area on the digitization is on the cloud. So the scalability and the way the whole digitization is going to happen, you will require a lot of services to be rendered on the cloud, and that's one area of where we see a strong potential. What we have done at Tata Communications, we have created a financial cloud, catering only specific to the financial industry. And when we say it's a financial cloud, it means that it's compliant to the norms and the regulations that typically the regulators are setting for the industry. So it comes as a single offering where customers can consume the cloud services and at the same time be not be worried about not missing any compliance around it.
Right, absolutely. Fantastic. I mean, there is definitely a rise of technology adoption and usage across various industries, especially even in the BFSI sectors, right? And also, while there is a rise of evolving emerging technologies to cater to the new age customers, and we spread across the various tier 2, tier 3 cities and states in India, there is also a rise for the cybersecurity, right? There is a lot of challenges that have been addressed and have been coming up, right? So this is a common challenge. And with that, there is also a lot of pressure from the regulators, right? There are always, new policies that are coming up. So how do you really, try to address and work upon these policies that really come up from the government, from the regulators, and how do you kind of work on those?
To be fair, Khushbu, many years ago, the pace at which the regulation was going, we were not ready for it. But I think today we understand the reason for the way the regulator or policymakers think the way they think. In fact, we do contribute to many of their thinking because of the nature of the business that we run. Especially at SBI, we've been handpicked by regulators to say, you have to make the use case for it. You have to become the poster boy for adopting not just technology, the cybersecurity postures and other things that we want to do. So to that extent, I think the regulator is moving at a very fast pace. We ourselves are also moving at a much faster pace. One, of course, is thanks to partners that we have, people like Tata Communications and other group entities, we now have access to various layers of technology capabilities that we can then obviously integrate with our services. Two, we are also actively improving our own talent pool of building high quality talent internally. Building resilience in terms of capabilities of monitoring, capabilities of ability to scale, and the benefits and both downsides of how we kind of scale. And the third thing is we are part of a large conglomerate, part of SBI Group. Some of the thinking that comes is not just native to us, it's native to a larger group. So we have that benefit of being part of the SBI Group. So these things have been very advantageous to us, but it's also very expensive today to run our scale of operations. It does cost money. So we try and see where are the benefits to partner with, a small organization or a large organization when it comes to ability to outsource some of these capabilities. Obviously, we believe that India is full of great, talented setups and organizations. We work with a lot of startups, we work with a lot of fintechs, and we also work with very large organizations like Tata Communications who kind of help us run this infrastructure at the back end that we need. Specifically on the cybersecurity side, we run a very tight ship. We have a large CISO team with a dedicated SOC capability that we've built in-house, and of course, a whole lot of cybersecurity tools. We do our own lot of internal assessments, which are not really regulatory required, like a cyber maturity assessment and things like that, because innately we always believe that you're just one step away from being so that's if you go with that mindset, and I think that's a mindset that we've now got into, that ultimately whatever you do, you will eventually will be vulnerable. So what do you do then? How do you get out of it? So we've been trying to build these kind of capability. We do a lot of tabletop activity in our own organizations to keep ourselves as much as possible up to date on these events. Yeah, but the level of maturity has gone up significantly. I remember a few years ago where we were and today where we are, the amount of management bandwidth that goes into this is significantly higher. Before it used to be take an insurance and sit tight, but today those don't matter. You really need to make investments.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they say it, right? If either you've been hacked and you're aware of it, or you're not aware of it, right? So, but everybody has been vulnerable and has been attacked in the industry. So this is a common saying. From a customer experience perspective, I actually wanted to ask you a question, Anurag. The customer demands have evolved over the years, right? There is a lot of expectations, from a physical experience as well as the digital experience. There is an expectations from a lot of BFSI and asset management companies to synchronize the whole experience. How is Tata Communications helping in this space?
Yeah, so this is a very interesting topic and a topic of discussion across the BFSI sector when we speak to them, because while a lot of things have moved online and now everyone is used to look at the financial services and consuming financial products on their apps, but at the same time the concept of physical will remain, and it's going to be more phygital in the way that we see going forward. And what the customers are looking is more of giving a mobile-like experience when you walk into a branch. And branches are now seeing more as a point of sale of making a cross-sell or a upsell, rather than just being an institution or a facility for servicing the customers. So that's a shift which we are observing in the industry, and people are looking at how to create that kind of sort of a phygital branch which has a lot of digital enablement done within the branch itself, which gives a different, unique experience to the customer. So once someone walks into the branch, he moves out happy with the kind of service that he gets from the branch. So in that direction, what we are trying to reimagine what a typical branch should look like. Right. So within that, we are essentially looking two parts of it. One is the physical infrastructure part, like how do you typically roll out a new branch? Say now all the institutions are looking to go in tier 3 and tier 4 as we see the penetration happening. So how do you come out with a small branch setup with a low-cost modes of connecting the branch? So that's one area where Tata Com is focusing and have come out with something called as branch in a box. Mm-hmm. So it's something which we sort of enable a quick branch setup in a single box where you get all the options of connecting it securely to your data centers, to your cloud applications, also enabling a voice telephony over it. So these are certain newer concepts which we are seeing as a trend which is emerging. The other part is within a branch, what all can you do? Yeah. So we are looking at, like, if you walk in, like, can there be some customized sort of offerings which can be showcased to you through signages? How do you do a self-assist kind of through kiosk? So we are using a lot of video analytics in that space, and there are a lot of use case emerging out of it. So for instance, like the observation on a queuing counter. So how long will you have to wait for reaching out to a person in the counter? So those kind of solutions which are coming out of video analytics. Can you do a self-serve? And within the self-serve, if you're stuck, can you connect to a video agent? Because not all the experts might be available in the branch at that point in time. Right. So connecting to a video agent. So these are some of the solutions that we are sort of creating, which are helping customers to create a digital experience within a branch. Right. Apart from that, there are other IoT kind of cases where you can do your energy management, you can do your environment management of the branch. So those are some other things that are coming up.
Right. Absolutely. I think it is very, very apt for SBI as a brand, because I feel that, while there are Gen Zs now and the millennials as customers that we're catering to, there are also SBI as a brand, has that legacy. Yeah. Right. So there are a lot of, senior citizens who has that trust in the brand. Whether newer brands that are focusing a lot on digital, there is a brand trust, and they still prefer branch, right? They still prefer the branch visit. So as a brand of SBI Mutual Fund, there is definitely, the synchronization that I'm sure, you must be also prioritizing and focusing on. So if you can tell us, how are you leading your customer experience journey, catering to both the segments of customers, right? And making it more like a Phygital banking?
So, I know Phygital is a large word, but I can tell you we've always believed in assisted journeys. A human-assisted journey. We live in a financial world. Trust is an important thing. You can't just put our money into something which is very vague, which nobody understands with 2 clicks. This has to be built with some kind of a user interaction. I think humanizing the work that we do is very important, especially for, like you said, the senior citizens and people who are a little bit digitally challenged. So what we've done in the last few years, of course, as we took the big shift to digital, we also built that whole assisted journey kind of model, what Anurag was kind of talking about, which is basically to say, can we digitize the process but humanize the interactions? That can we create an ability for interactions to be physically discussed but captured digitally, and then transform that into a transaction which is more efficient than actually doing a physical conversation, then doing everything in a digital entry. So one of the things that we have done very early was to build integration with the core banking solution of SBI, that we call it Insta Invest. It's now almost like 10-year-old, where we built the entire assisted journey. Even before the digital apps kind of took off, the customer kind of interacts with the branch manager in the branch. And as the part of the branch interaction, the data is getting captured as part of the front end capability. And as the data gets captured, a data reference is sent back to the customer for him to validate on his mobile. And when the customer kind of okays it, then the transaction kind of happens. So this kind of increases the trust factor because there's a ability for people to talk to. And secondly, it improves the digital footprint. There are no data errors being created because somebody's writing something and punching in something else. And we had a lot of data error issues in the past. So to some extent, this whole assisted journey has kind of helped. The second thing that we have also done is for the branches to kind of, because we also went through a process where manual interventions were very high, frauds were happening and stuff like that. So we built analyticals capability in the back end from a suitability point of view. So we've built a suitability capability with the kind of data that's already available. Then when the relationship manager kind of talks to the customer, they talk with relevancy, not with 200 funds of ours, open it up and saying what makes sense for us, but kind of pitch the right product depending on the data that the branch already has. So that interaction becomes more precise and more valuable when they try and do that. And the third thing, obviously, we have tried to do is all this interaction with real-time capability. So you have to ensure that the transaction happens in real time, the customer gets the connect in real time, and then gets service real time, and an ability for him to go and look up on all the transactions in his Gmail or in his WhatsApp or an SMS capability. The last thing that we built is now recent one. Once they understand that there is something that they can do, can we then help them build through voice parts and other capability an assisted model? We have built that through our, we call it as it's basically an assisted journey on a voice-based capability. People are more comfortable talking than typing. So we've created this, and of course there are some LLMs as backend, which kind of helps this whole journey become much more better. It's a new experiment. We hope that will help, because ultimately we have to service 140 crore investors, and that kind of servicing capability you don't have if you don't mix and match both digital and technology, and the humanization that's required in terms of building the trust, building the empathy, making sure that the high net worth customer and the smallest customer get similar confirmation, similar information, and most importantly, similar satisfaction in dealing with us.
All right. I have one last question, Srinivas. This was really great. You come with a good 30 years of experience, which is amazing, right, in this sector. You've seen the industry evolve, both from the customer side, from the technology side, right? You've seen the whole sector evolve. You're well known in the industry, in the entire fraternity of technology and customer experience. I have this opportunity to share the screen with you. So I would want to take, this question on behalf of my viewers. Any best practices, learnings, or any advice that you would like to give to the fraternity in the industry?
Yeah, I think most people are more smarter than I am, but I can definitely tell over time, don't invest in legacy technology. Most of us have got stuck because we had to just renew AMC contracts, and over a period of time we got stuck with some other stuff. Things are moving very fast. Wherever possible, use services, third-party services, but understand what you're getting into. Most of the team, including our team, when we initially started, it was just trying to bring the best and shiny product out there into the company. But I think whenever you make a large investment in the team which can manage it, not just the vendor, but your own team who can manage the vendor. So that's something that we've now started doing as a company, because obviously we invest in great technology solutions out there, but you need dedicated people to do that. The third thing is obviously, and most importantly, that you should look at technology ROIs. Invest big on technology, but have a technology ROI in mind. It's not just the business's requirement to look at ROI, it's the technology team's requirement to look at ROI. The minute you go with that kind of a mindset, things will change. Knowledge and everything else is second to all this team. This is, all the CIOs out there understand the investment that they need to do. But if you align that, one last thing, and I'm sure I have reality because I come from the business side,
right.
I can tell you that people don't understand technology the way the CIO understands technology. So you've got to build that gap between the way the management thinks and the technology team think. So you need to learn the skills of communication, and also understand the priority that the management has in mind.
Yeah.
If you can build that gap, I think most projects would be very successful.
Absolutely. And I think CIO's role has evolved over the years as well. They're now the business leaders, right? And businesses today run on technology. So I think there is definitely, there's no business without the usage of technology. Fantastic. I think this was great. I have a little surprise. I've crafted some rapid fire questions for you and for Anurag.
That's really surprising.
So I am going to start with a rapid fire. I have just like few questions, and you can give your answers like in one word.
Okay.
Right. So I'll start with you, Srinivas.
Sure.
Equities or debt? Your personal favorite investment?
At this stage, I'm all equity.
All right. One word to describe the future of mutual funds.
Very bright.
A book every finance professional should read.
One book I don't think does justice. There's a lot of them, but basically money and personal finance. That is this any personal finance book will do at this point. I don't want to recommend one name. Right?
Sure. What's your go-to productivity hack?
Have a good team.
Yeah, team is everything. If you weren't in the finance industry, what would you be doing?
Good question. Maybe advertising.
Very nice. Wow. I'm going to reach out to you for some of the tips that has not come out. A piece of advice you'd give your younger self.
My younger self is, again, go back, invest in a great team. If you invest in a good team, you would sleep easy.
Lovely. That was it. Thank you so much, Srinivas. Anurag, a few questions for you. A mantra you truly believe and live by?
To be honest,
Very nice. Cloud or on-premise, what's the future?
hybrid.
True. 5G or AI, what will be a bigger impact on BFSI?
Yeah.
Biggest challenge in digital transformation, people, process, or technology?
I think it's a tough one, but it's a combination of all the three.
Work from home or work from office?
Hybrid.
One tech gadget you can't live without?
Phone.
If you had to describe your journey at Tata Communications in 3 words, what would it be?
It has been great.
Lovely. This was excellent, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining CIO News on this episode. And it was my pleasure to have this interaction with both of you.
Thank you, man. Our pleasure too. Thank you.
Lovely.